in bits and pieces, the whole story's been put out there for us, including like Capricorn 1 to cover the moon landing,
Yep.
or Gattaca to say that only the elite could go into space,
Mm.
or the signal, or something to show that there's a dome or dark city, and there's limitations.
Yeah.
So they've been putting it out there. And I think they do that sometimes so that if anybody uncovers the truth, they'll say, "Oh, you're crazy. You saw that in a movie. You're one of those nuts."
Yeah, the predictive programming for this, and you and I have talked about it some, like, has been going around for some years, and that kind of gives you an idea of how big it is. Rob will say, I think you said several times that the reactions that you're getting, there's so much pushback in certain places that it almost screams that there's something going on.
There has to be.
Yeah.
And talking about some of the TV shows that are out right now, and one of them is the Astronauts Wives Club. It's on ABC. I've been watching it on Hulu. And in episode 1, they set the whole thing up like we've got to get the wives of, we got to do a whole expose on the wives and show the American public that these astronauts, they're regular guys. They have wives, they have kids, they have families, they have dogs. But let's really focus on the wives and put a human family face to the space program.
Yeah.
And it right as the credits are still appearing on the screen at the beginning of the show, the reporter introduces himself to the wives and says what he wants to do, and one of the wives says, "Sounds like we're propaganda." So, at the beginning of the show, they're telling you the show is propaganda. And at the end of the show, if you watch all the way to the end of the credits, after the credits go up, they show like 3 or 4 production companies that are involved with making the show. And I think it's the second or third production company that shows up. It's Fake Empire. And it's got a hand drawing of people looking up into the sky and one of the space capsules coming down with a parachute. It's their logo.
Wow.
And it's Fake Empire. And you're like, really? Seriously? Wow. And then there's another show I've been watching on Netflix called Ascension. Have you seen that?
I have seen that. It's
Wow.
it's a 10-part series from the Sci-Fi Network. In fact, I was turned on to that by a fan of Flat Earth. And how far are you in?
Oh,
I'm sorry. It's not a 10-part series. It's a giant 2 or 3-part series. I was thinking
I think there might be 6 episodes, but it's whatever it is. They kind of capped it at that. I don't know if that's the end of the season.
Yeah. That's it. That was in. But did you get to the part where
I got to the whole thing?
Okay. So you saw it. Yeah. I saw that. I was going, because I was trying to go, why did this fan send me, this thing where the spaceship was the top, the bridge of the spaceship was literally between 2 giant planetariums, and that all of space was being faked. And he does that little monologue thing. I was going, oh my God.
I know. I know. I'm watching this going, holy cow. I mean, it was like kind of an amped up, cooler version of the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And there was a guy, in fact, the guy that sent me this, I go, wow, that's really cool. He goes, what's cool? He goes, and they'll never do it in the States, but they did it over in Great Britain because Great Britain kind of laughs at our space program. Was they did a I think it was like a reality show called, I think, Space Cadets. And what it was kind of like a version of Punk'd, where basically they took these people, right, and they said like they won some sort of prize where they were going to send them into space, like Virgin Galactic or SpaceX and everything.
Yeah.
And they were going to train them and do all this stuff, and they were going to put them in a capsule and black everything out, right? But the whole thing was a punk. They weren't going to go anywhere. They were literally going to, from what I understand, they were going to send them on a fake space mission. And I don't know if it actually aired, but they were recruiting everybody for this. I was going, I think that hit a little too close to home to where, all of a sudden, they think, oh, hey, I'm in orbit, right? And they open the doors. Oh, no, you're not. It's like, what?
Space, the final frontier. Man has been traveling here since the 60s. All of them brave voyagers, highly trained astronauts, not everyday people. Until now. Our mission, to take ordinary members of the public, put them through a rigorous training regime on an isolated Russian military base, and then blast them off into space. Or so they'll think. Unbeknownst to them, they'll never actually leave UK soil. The scene is set. The countdown to launch has begun. Will the contestants even want to go into space? And if they do, will they fall for the biggest practical joke in television history? We're about to find out in Space Cadets.
It's Space Gym,
but not as you know it. So what are we trying to achieve here? We have a two-part mission statement. Part one, we must convince a group of people that a large field a stone's throw from Ipswich is in fact a Russian space training facility. Part two, we must convince this same group of people we're going to put in a shuttle, blast them into space for 5 days, where they'll make history as Britain's first televised space tourists, when in fact they will be in this high-tech shuttle simulator based on genuine NASA blueprints in this aircraft hangar here in that same field near Ipswich. Now, if they last the full 5-day mission without rumbling us, they'll each walk away with a bundle of cash. This is the most elaborate and expensive hoax in British TV history. After months of auditions, 9 contestants and 3 undercover actors were taken to an airfield in Kent. You are about to become the very first televised British space tourist. On you get. They were flown around the UK in the dark for 4 hours before landing at our fake space training facility in Suffolk.
Добро пожаловать на российскую военно-космическую базу Крымск.
Thankfully, they were convinced by the whole illusion and quickly settled into Russian life.
Настровое.
And this is where they're all praying they'll end up, aboard this state-of-the-art space shuttle simulator. Welcome to Space Cadets. Yep, it may not be in Russia, it may be incapable of leaving the ground, but it really is an impressive bit of kit, even if all these amazing looking buttons do actually nothing. Fire, fire, death, death. Nothing. 3 of the Space Cadets, boldly led by our undercover actors, will be sitting here on Monday night thinking they're being blasted into space for a 5-day mission. Would it convince you? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking out the window just there. I can see the sort of projection of Earth. It's kind of convincing, but I'm really not sure. I don't know. You know, it seems real enough in here. It's just whether they get the special effects right. What I do know is that no expense has been spared to convince them the whole operation is above board.
We're getting to the point technologically, where we can really fake just about anything.
Yeah.
And that's why, I have such a hard time with looking at video footage or still imagery. And I just wanted to add this part to this show. It was not actually something that I pointed out during the interview, but as I was editing this, I saw a video that Journalism put out. So I want to talk a little about that right here and just insert this into this video for your consideration. He basically found Mars right here on Earth on Devon Island, which is just off to the west of Greenland. He was saying that it was Greenland, but it's not actually on Greenland. It's Devon Island. And I did some poking around on there too. I wanted to check it out for myself. And actually, as I was looking around, I actually saw a picture. It said the Houghton crater, Haughton crater, Mars on Earth, Devon Island. And, you look at these places and just imagine zooming in on these places and putting a red filter on it. And what do you know? You're on Mars, He found these images right here that are, if you want to check them out, you can go on Google Earth and check it out for yourself. Just make sure you're in the gallery layers. You select Gigapan photos, and then you'll see these icons show up right here. And so if you click on these Gigapan images, I mean, just even without doing that, this looks like the surface of a weird planet. Let's say Mars. Just turn it all red and it looks just like Mars. But if you click on these things, you get these panoramic views. It'll zoom in for you right into Google Earth and then show you these panoramas. And they are really interesting. Now, again, just all we have to do is imagine a red filter on this, and you're looking out over Mars. But this is actually an island of Canada where NASA has set up some experiments, and you'll see right here on their truck, it says Mars Project. So this is the Mars Project in the Arctic. Bunch of ATVs and stuff like that, and you kind of look around, and what do you see? You see a rover. Now, this isn't the same one that's on Mars, but it's one awfully close to it, very similar, and it's tooling around in a landscape that looks very much like it could be a Martian landscape, just change the color. And let's look at a few other ones that he pointed out. Just zoom out so you can see the other ones over here. You got this one here. This is Arctic Camp. And sure enough, in the Arctic Camp, you can see that they've been here for a while, looks like. And they've got all kinds of antenna equipment and stuff like that for communications, I would presume. There's a NASA truck again, Mars Project. You know, I mean, this landscape out here looks an awful lot like Mars. Now, this back here, I believe, is for training purposes. The astronauts can set up shop in there and simulate living in Martian conditions, I guess. So fair enough. You know, this is a good training ground, but it also could be a really excellent set for more than just training. It could be for deceiving. I mean, Stanley Kubrick would be proud to have a set like this. I mean, he would have been really jazzed, I think. Imagine what he could have done with, you know, a shot like this for a Mars landscape, right? A practical set. We'll look at the one more here. This one right here. And, you know, here we go. Nice Martian landscape once again. And here's our little rover guy. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Looks like a different one, maybe. Tooling around in the Martian landscape. So, I mean, it's this sort of thing that, okay, it could be innocent. Sure, could be. Maybe this is just, you know, all for training purposes, trying to simulate a similar environment and cold temperatures and stuff like that. I get it. But then again, it could. I mean, it is at least plausible for them to be using a place just like this. And there are a whole lot of images. You just do, you know, fake Mars images or fake Mars pics or whatever on a Google search. And you'll see a lot of people out there are really taking a look at the Mars pics and showing that they very well could have originated right here on Earth just with a red filter on it. And we also know that Apollo 11 was faking pictures through the round or oval window of their capsule, trying to make the Earth look like it was a globe by taking a picture through a round window.
Unfortunately, we only have one window that has a view of the Earth, and it's filled up with the TV camera. So your view now is probably better than ours is. Roger, we copy. 11, Houston, if you could comply, we'd like to see some smiling faces up there. If you could give us some interior views, I'm sure everybody'd like to see you, over. Okay, we'll reconfigure the TV for that. Roger. Apollo 11, Houston, appears to us that we're seeing a view from outside, plus a little of the inside. It appears you've taken the camera away from the left window. Now over. That's correct. We're moving it back and reconfiguring for interior lighting. Roger. We can still see the Earth through the left window, and it appears that we can see a floodlight off to the left, either that or some sun shafting through the hatch window. It's a floodlight. Now we're coming in. Can't quite make out who that hatch. That's Big Mike Collins there. Well, you got a little bit of... Yeah, hello there, sports fans. You got a little bit of me, plus Neil's in the center couch, and Buzz is doing the camera work this time.
And I proved the same thing could be done. If you go to my Testing the Globe website, testingglobe.com, and go to Easy Globalist Arguments to Refute, and if you scroll down on that page, you'll see some pictures that I had taken. This right here was taken out of my Spirit Airlines flight on the way back from San Diego to Dallas at about 37,000 feet. I was taking pictures out the window, and just the way that the camera adjusted itself, I was using my iPhone. So it focused on the background image back here. It made that nice and bright, and the foreground was out of focus and dark. Well, I mean, you don't have to do a whole lot to that image to make it look like something that it's not. Add a red filter to it, put a little bit of a glow around it, throw a space probe or a satellite or an ISS over it if you wanted to, and what do you know? You got something that the average person could easily be deceived by. This is New Mexico at 37,000 feet. Or it's Mars with a space probe in front of it. I'm just saying it's really easy to, as Ben Kenobi said, your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them. And with modern technology today, it's even easier. And if you've got a great set like Devon Island to use to pretend that it's Mars that very few people will ever get to, who's going to go up there? I mean, it's really far north and really cold and very remote. So, what are the chances that Joe Blow is going to be up there? Now, why would NASA put that stuff out in plain sight? Well, I mean, again, it could be it's just a training site and they have no problem telling people that. Could also be Amos 3:7. God says he himself, he doesn't do anything except that he tells his servants, the prophets, first what he's going to do. So if that's a law that even God himself has bound himself by, then perhaps that's the reason why, we talk a lot about the Illuminati always putting things out in plain sight. It's hidden in plain sight, but it's there. It's there for everybody to see. Maybe they have to do the same thing too. I don't know. You want to believe the best. You want to think, okay, it's just a training facility and it's all good. It's all above board. But then again, the possibility and even plausibility that it could be used for deceptive purposes is there as well. So just something to consider. All right, let's get back to the original broadcast. I don't know how I ended up on the White House email list, but I get this, whatever update from the White House, and when they put out the new blue marble, and I look at this thing.
Update or orders?
Yeah, I'm getting orders. Well,
chill.
Yeah, that's right. Guys like us, Mark, I heard you're an Illuminati, Freemason, government-paid Jesuit shill. So, I must be the junior officer over here.
I'm not a Jesuit.
You're not?
No, he's with the Judean People Front.
But
yeah.
Or the People's
all
Front
those
of Judea.
other titles. Come on, get it straight. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So you get a thing from the White House. Oh, so you got that thing when the blue marble came out.
Yeah, when it first came out, it was from the White House sent a blurb out in a Twitter or whatever to everybody, and you get this blue marble, and you look at it at first, it's an improvement over some of the other blue marbles, but then somebody brilliant out there decided, hey, I'm going to flip this thing upside down. And as soon as they did, the clouds are spelling sex.
Yep.
And you're like,
Yep.
come on. Oh,
Yep. And you know what I also loved about that was, and Jonathan and I have talked about before, was that they were when they put out the blue marble shot, they made a point of saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is the first blue marble shot we've done in 43 years," and
but all the other ones.
yeah, which helped the flat Earth cause, because everybody, on that side was saying, there are no pictures of the Earth from space. There's only one that they've ever said, and people are going, no, that's not true. And then the White House and Neil deGrasse Tyson comments on it, said, oh yeah, this is the second shot from space in 43 years. I was going, and this doesn't bother anybody?
Yes. So wait. Do you think they're helping the cause or the movement so that they can get out from under their lies? Do you think, they're giving little clues and
That is, go ahead.
Well, because they're still saying this is the real deal, they're saying that this is the ball Earth, and I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying, now with this new satellite or whatever, we're going to be getting pictures every month and new stuff. So their plan is to constantly put it in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I will say this, and I think the movement, and especially with help from guys like you, I don't think that blue marble shot would have come out if this thing wasn't getting.
I agree.
This traction. It was I was humbled when I saw that. Because that blue marble thing was passed around inside our circles really, really fast, and I was going, wow. That's something. You're actually going to come out and put the shot out because we've been saying that there's no shot.
Well, and then right after that is the moon crossing in front of the Earth. It was 2 weeks after that, I think that one came out. So it's almost like they're really scrambling because there's a guy out there called Conscious Truth on YouTube.
Okay.
He's got a series, NASA Fake Images of Earth Smoking Gun, Parts 1 through 5. Mm-hmm. Where he's going on the NASA website, going through their image catalog, the NSS-DC image catalog of the Earth, going through each of the Apollo missions and clicking on them, bringing them into Photoshop, adjusting the levels and showing the funky masks that are around them. He's just hammering them. And I did a few myself. I did the same thing with Apollo 17, Scientists on the Moon. I did that on 2 different Google Hangout shows on video, with 2 different people interviewing me. We did it live on the air. I took people to the site, downloaded it live, put it in Photoshop, adjusted the levels, showed them the square box around the Earth.
Right. I saw the one you did with Josh Peck.
Yeah, with Josh.
Yeah, where you had the square box around the Earth that was coincidentally right underneath that pointed end of the flag. Yeah. And it was like 3 days later, I think, somebody sent me a thing on Facebook saying, go look at the same webpage that I was just on, and it said it was updated. That page was updated like 2 days, 3 days after I did that show. Really? And it's gone now?
It was updated, and I downloaded the picture again and tried it again, and I got a totally different effect. Nice. It still had pixelation around it, but they must have put a higher resolution picture and cleaned it up, because you could actually, when you adjusted the levels the same way that I did in the prior one, you could actually see stars, which you couldn't see in any of the other ones. So what it appeared is, these guys are out there doing this, I'm doing this, other people are doing it, exposing these pictures, and somebody over there at NASA must have they just hired a guy to go kind of clean up all the all the old stuff. Yeah. And it's like, okay, now let's get some new stuff out. Let's throw out Pluto.
Yeah, Pluto. I was just gonna say, let's throw the Pluto thing out there.
Pluto. I don't know. Here's a new blue marble.